Hey guys, I'm back from a more than 2 week long hiatus with Blu-ray editions. Let's go! Alright, starting us off is Fantastic Mr. Fox. I love this movie so much. Is it my favorite Wes Anderson movie? No, it isn't. It's my second favorite, maybe. I like The Royal Tenenbaums a lot more than this movie, but this is still a fun movie. I'm a sucker for stop motion animation movies. Coraline, love it. One of Wes Anderson's later stop motion movies, Isle of Dogs, love it. Shaun the Sheep movie, awesome. But I think stop motion animation is really a good place for Wes Anderson to be. Because if you see, like, the making of some of his movies, especially The Grand Budapest Hotel, he puts a lot of work into, like, trying to make places of the world look like they belong in his movies. But with Fantastic Mr. Fox, rather than molding a world that already exists, he can make an entirely new world just out of materials you can get in your house. So I think Wes Anderson's stop motion movies are really good. One thing I want to say about this movie though is I read the novel to this I watched the movie first and then read the novel. I think the movie's actually way better than the novel because the movie adds more depth to the characters. Mr. Fox only has one son in the movie, so that way you can actually get emotional advancement to his character, or emotional stuff to his character, and so it feels more interesting to watch the movie, especially since a majority of the third act is just completely made up and from nowhere. And the third act is probably the strongest point of the movie. So I think the movie's way better than the Roald Dahl novel, but I still recommend reading the book and watching the movie because it's a whale of a good time. Next up is The Godfather, The Godfather 2, and The Godfather Coda, Death of Michael Corleone. First two Godfathers, all I'm going to say about them is that these are cinematic masterpieces and probably two of what are some of the greatest movies ever made and super important. And The Godfather Coda, it's basically The Godfather 3, but slightly better, I think. That's what I hear. I haven't seen it yet, but it's basically Francis Ford Coppola went in and changed a lot. He, looked through old film to try and make the movie better and edit it in different ways so it can be what he wanted originally for the film. But I don't think it's gonna be too much of an improvement unless they can, put this through Adobe Premiere and, completely edit out Sofia Coppola's character in every way, shape, and form. By far, Sofia Coppola's character in here, I think her name was Mary Corleone. By far my least favorite cinematic character since Jar Jar Binks. That's how much I hate her. Next up is This Is Spinal Tap. Wow. Wow. This is such a good comedy. This movie's hilarious. I think every man, woman, child should watch this movie. It's rated R and literally rated R for no reason. When did bad language ever hurt anyone? That's my opinion. Movies should not be rated R for, the use of the F word. When did anyone ever, get physically hurt over the F word? I think This Is Spinal Tap, though, is a phenomenal movie. The acting in this movie alone is incredible. I'm not saying anything's, Oscar-worthy, but the reason I say it's a good acting is because throughout the 83-minute-long runtime, no one ever breaks character or, breaks into laughter subtly. It's all very subtle, the humor, And that could be a problem for some people because most people like watching comedies that, like, tell them when to laugh. But, like, somebody will do something so obviously stupid that it's just unbelievable that anyone could fathom doing it. But in This Is Spinal Tap, you know where to laugh, but the movie isn't the people telling you to do so. So I think This Is Spinal Tap might be one of my new favorite movies. One of, not my favorite. That is reserved for specifically Collateral. Next up is The Right Stuff. I like this movie a lot. I haven't watched it in full. It's 3 hours and 13 minutes, actually. And I don't have that time of day ever. So what I've been doing is I've been watching it in increments. And it's been absolutely delightful to watch it. I'm at from the beginning to about an hour in where Jeff Goldblum is in the movie for a bit. Hooray. But I think this movie's an absolute pleasure. I'm not saying it's funny, but it's really good. I think the only reason that I ever found out about this film was from my history teacher. He said at the beginning of the year, he said his favorite movie of all time is The Right Stuff, and one of his other favorite movies was Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I will trust anyone's taste in movies if their favorite movie is Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That movie's phenomenal and hilarious. So I was like, heck yeah, I gotta watch this now. And so yeah, I like The Right Stuff. Next up is Midnight in Paris. Maybe not my favorite Woody Allen film, and I'm not like saying that sparingly so I can be like, no, I hate it. No, it's like my third favorite Woody Allen movie. You got Annie Hall at first place, Manhattan at second place, Midnight in Paris at third place. Yeah, I like this movie. I think my only main problem with it is in a lot of Woody Allen movies, he has this motif where there's like a little gag or a scene where he has a psychological battle with a pseudo-intellectual, and it's always really funny. Like in Annie Hall, it was the Marshall McLuhan scene. I'm not gonna tell you exactly what happens in there, because you just need to watch the movie to get how funny that scene is. And, in Manhattan, it is the psychological battle that he has with Diane Keaton's character in one scene. But in Midnight in Paris, it becomes like a whole subplot that Owen Wilson's character, who's the main character, is like in this psychological battle against this guy who his wife knows, and it's just a whole subplot. I think that's kind of a poor way to make it, because it gets old extremely fast. It gets old before the scene ends. But overall, I think Midnight in Paris is a really fun movie to watch and has some great performances. Actually, one more thing I want to say. They even pay tribute to Louis Buñuel, who's a later filmmaker. So that's a really good idea to put in the movie. Anyways, moving on. I think I've said enough. Is Duel. I like Duel a lot. I'm not sure you know who the director of this is. You might. He's a pretty small director. Just directed some small films like Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., Indiana Jones, Saving Private Ryan, Schindler's List, Jurassic Park. Nothing big. Steven Spielberg. That was it. Duel is his first movie. I love Duel a lot. It's a phenomenal movie. It's basically Jaws with cars. And, you remember how in Jaws, like, the shark was mostly broken, and so they didn't show the shark for a majority of it? I think Spielberg might have gotten the idea to not show the shark from Duel, because throughout the movie, we don't see this truck driver that's trying to kill Dennis Weaver's character. And so I think that's where he got the idea originally, like, just keep filming. But I think Duel is a really exciting movie, and if you're a Spielberg fan, you gotta see it. Next up is the Expendables trilogy. very, very weird thing to get from your mom for Christmas. I'm not complaining, though, because I like The Expendables. Is it Citizen Kane? No, definitely not. But it's a fun action movie where I don't have to think much, and a bunch of action heroes who I unfortunately didn't grow up with all collaborate together. I think my main problem with the first movie is it takes itself way too seriously, and the bad guy's mostly there just to be bad. I think the best improvement that this movie could have made is be directed by John McTiernan. He's the director of movies like Die Hard and Predator, and those movies, if you've seen them, have a bit of cheesiness in them. Like, think Die Hard, for example. John McClane is like such a cheesy action hero. Like, almost every sentence he says has the F word in it. He, like, throws a chair down an elevator and it explodes. It has C4 on it. But, like, dude, seriously? You blew up 2 stories with a C4, a chair, and a computer. And, like, so you can tell John McTiernan is good at making cheesy movies that can still become action classics. And The Expendables is aiming for cheesy. Like, you can tell it's aiming to be cheesy, but it doesn't know that. So I think with John McTiernan behind the camera, The Expendables could have been an action classic that isn't popular because of a gimmick that a lot of really cool action stars are in it. And moving on, finally, is the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy.
What's the matter, David? You never taken a shortcut before?
Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. I love all 3 of these films with all of my heart. This is by far my favorite movie trilogy. Yeah, sure, Star Wars is cool, Lord of the Rings is really good, but come on. These movies are probably some of the best comedies you could see. Please watch all of them. These kind of all have their own thing going for it. Shaun of the Dead is by far the most well-told through use of recurring themes and foreshadowing. Like, there's one scene where Shaun just goes to the store and comes back home. No, he just goes to the store. No, he does go to the store and come back home. I'm so sorry, my brain's melting. And then, so, nothing unusual, but then in a later scene, he goes to the store again, and the exact same camera movements are used, and everything's exactly the same, but with a twist, because in that time, the zombie apocalypse happened. And so it's just amazing how well foreshadowed that could be. And also, I think Shaun of the Dead has the best ending of the 3, like, the funniest and the most satisfying, in my opinion. Hot Fuzz is the next. I think that's the funniest, but unpopular opinion, it's the worst of the trilogy. It's still good, but it has lacking characters. The most I can say about it is it has really over-the-top violence that I like. And then The World's End is by far my favorite of the 3. Please watch that 4 times a day. That is in no reason unreasonable. That is in no way unreasonable. But I think The World's End is just a fun movie, and what that has going for it is it has the best characters by far. Alright, on to Blu-ray of the month. Our nominees this month are Fantastic Mr. Fox. This is a Criterion release, and so this is just looks a lot better than the average Blu-ray might, and it has some interesting special features about the making of and how they did like the stop motion animation. And so I like this Blu-ray a lot. It's a good Blu-ray. Next up is Midnight in Paris. There's a scene in this movie where Owen Wilson's character, his fiancée, the pseudo-intellectual that I hate so much, and the pseudo-intellectual's wife are all walking through a museum, and there's like a wall full of that. There's like a wall that's just completely an oil painting, and that shot in this movie looks beautiful. And I think the best part of it is that all these scenes take place at midnight, and so it looks really nice. It has a nice kind of darkness to it that's lit up with yellow lighting. And so our next nominee is Duel. The final shot of this movie alone, where Dennis Weaver is just throwing rocks and sitting, I don't even know where he's sitting. He's just throwing rocks, and the sun setting is enough to nominate this movie. And finally, our two nominees from the same box set, Hot Fuzz on 4K and The World's End on Blu-ray. Hot Fuzz adds a lot of extra detail, and I don't know why this is important for me, but the over-the-top violence in this 4K looks even more crisp, and that's just important to me for some reason. And in The World's End, specifically towards the third act when a giant robot gets involved, it's just, that's enough to like it. And also the last maybe 30 minutes where a lot of stuff happens looks really nice on this Blu-ray, actually. I nominated The World's End on Blu-ray, in case I didn't say that, and Hot Fuzz on 4K. And so our winner is, please do a drum roll, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Like I said, I think this is a phenomenal Blu-ray. It's Criterion, and it has some interesting special features. But most importantly, I am a sucker for stop motion. The first Blu-ray to win Blu-ray of the month was Shaun the Sheep movie, and I think it's fitting that this is that another stop motion film wins. Like I said when Shaun the Sheep movie won, you can see like all the materials everything's made of. Like you can see little strands of hair on the figure's face. And so that's why I nominated Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's just a phenomenal Blu-ray. But you should check all these out. They're all really good looking. Thank you very much for watching another Blu-ray Editions video. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Stay safe and watch good movies. Bye!